Welcome to the Generous Degenerates. We've got a great show for you tonight. We are going to be covering quick recap on the Final Four. We've got some Masters talk. We've got some NBA and NHL playoffs on the horizon. And we're going to talk a little bit about betting baseball with the new season underway. So let's get it started. We got a great one for you. Here we go.
This is the Generous Degenerates, presented by Rally Towel Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Generous Degenerates, presented by Mafia Sports Report and Rally Towel Sports. He's back, ladies and gentlemen, back from the motherland, returning with sportsbook experience, bags under his eyes, and I'm sure some stories he cannot bring stateside here. Back from Vegas, we got Aaron Mailing, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, Corey?
How are we doing,
Masters
buddy?
Week, dude. I'm doing fantastic.
It is Masters Week, and you look the part. You're looking fantastic, man.
I even got the glove on. You know, we're ready. We're ready to go here. We got to make our picks. We got to make our predictions. It's
no calluses on those hands.
No, it's the best. It's honestly one of the best times of years. Like you said, obviously those college basketball just wrapped up. Spring is sprung. I got to play my first 9 yesterday. Like it just feels like, you know, it feels like summer is only but approaching us, and I really love golf season in general.
Sure.
But really just the sports that are on the horizon.
So you got your first 9 in.
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
It went, honestly, my wife asked me the same thing. There's no better way to describe it. It was like, it was fine. Yeah. I'm working on, I got 5 new clubs in my bag this year. One of them is the flat stick. So my first like 2 or 3 holes, I missed easy putts. I wasn't used to it. The greens were just freshly aerated. So it was kind of tough putting through some sand and holes and stuff.
Yeah.
But I did fine. You know, I had a lot of good shots where I was like, yes, all right, let's go. But also it was a lot of rust in the arms.
Yeah. But you got out there, and that's what matters. Got the first one under the belt. You're this much closer to just being in prime form before everybody else. So that's good.
Yeah,
for you.
and I had I was about 160 yards away where I stuck it so close to the pin. It was under or above my horizon line, but I was like, that might have went in. And I ran up, and it's always on the last hole that you play where you're like, yep, yeah. I'll see you next week.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You have earned my money another day.
Right, exactly.
Thank you, game of golf. But no, it's absolutely one of the most exciting weeks. My favorite major. It sucks that it's the beginning of the season, but it's also awesome that it's in the beginning of the season because we get it so early and we get it now and we get to, enjoy it. And it's just a magical time of year. As you said, March Madness just wrapped, opening day. I'm drinking Oberon here in Michigan. Spring is here. Don't look at the temperatures on some days. Just take the ones that are the good days and just say that's equilibrium. Bobby, liking the stream. We appreciate you, buddy, coming in on Facebook and YouTube. No matter how you're watching us tonight, we appreciate you coming by. All right, Aaron, let's. I think first before we get into it, I do want to hear about Vegas.
It was fantastic. It was my first time ever going, and I was there for work, so I really only got to screw around a little bit. But we had a sports book right in our casino, which was pretty cool. And
what casino were you staying at?
I was at the Mirage.
Right on.
It was an MGM sports book, but
yes,
it was beautiful. I mean, it was honestly really, really beautiful, and I had a pretty good experience just because it's kind of minimally I kind of had to be on somewhat of behavior while I was there.
Yeah.
But I still had some time to fuck around, and I had a red eye out Friday. My conference was done at about 4:00 Friday, so I had basically between 4 and 10 o'clock to just fuck around. So the Cavs Knicks game was going on, and unfortunately, I took the Cavs spread, and they lost. I really wish I took the over because I think it cashed before halftime. It was like an All-Star game.
Man.
But it was fun. Like there were some Knicks fans there I was kind of joking around with, and it was a really good time. I did not hit any of my bets while I was there. I only placed 3 of them, but like, because I didn't have a ton of time. Luckily, I did not walk away negative even with the 3 lost sports bets. I had a really good day on the roulette table.
There we go.
And that was my way of at least sticking it a little bit back to Vegas. So
same strategy for me. Yeah.
Rare strategy of leaving even, minus the drinks spent, but not a ton because they'll bring you someone here at the tables.
Yeah.
And it's a good time.
Good for you, man. So all in all, will you be back to Vegas, you think?
Yeah, I don't think I'd do the red eye again, though. That was a miserable experience. I got home at like 7 a.m. We went to this like diner by us and got breakfast, and then came downstairs to like throw something on the TV. I think I fell asleep before I even hit the pillow. I was down to about 1 o'clock, so it's a good time.
Well, you're back now. You're slowly nursing yourself back to reality as you readjust. Vegas is always a what do you got there? What are you sipping on?
It is a Members Mark Cherry Limeade. Shout out Sam's Club. It's
nice
seltzer water. It's fantastic.
Beautiful. So still nursing the liver there. Good for you.
You got to get back. It heals itself. You just got to give it a chance.
Just got to give it some time. A little water, a little TLC. She'll come right back. Beautifully done. All right, man. Awesome. So Final Four. Quick recap on that. First of all, congratulations to the UConn Huskies winning the national championship, and me. Congratulations to the UConn Huskies and me. Mostly me. I was a national champion too. I believe I would bet that I had more faith in UConn than most of their fan base at February 18th. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. That I'm a fan now. You've got me, and I'm part of you, and I'm your leader. So you just look to me, UConn faithful. I appreciate the
and what do you say to the fans of all the other schools that you bet that lost?
So we're not really in a moment of addressing that. We don't really worry about losers.
We'll worry about next season.
I believed in them too, but when I was looking at that, I was like, that's my shot. And they won me the bracket pool as well. So hats off to me and to the UConn Huskies. Yeah, absolutely.
But mostly Corey.
But mostly me. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's awesome. Let's see. We got some stuff going on in the chat. If you don't already know, before we get into it, we have our Masters pool going.
Yes.
And Aaron.
Shout out Bobby.
This is a gorgeous graphic up on our website, realitysports.com. If you have been so awesome as to have entered our Masters pool, this is where you can see all the teams. Bobby made this for us. Just came in. You can go and see where everybody else is at, see who your unique golfers are that maybe can set you apart. Aaron, I'm the only one that took our guy, Max Homa.
The homie?
Max Homa. And we'll get into Masters talk here in a little bit, but I just wanted to let everybody know if you're tuning in right now and you entered our Masters pool, realitysports.com. It's got the graphic up where it's got everyone's teams listed. Shout out again to everybody that joined. Aaron, I think the total pot is going to be somewhere in the near $700.
Let's go. Shout out.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So first place going to be taking home well over $4, I believe. Second place over $100. Third place, 60. So as long as you win, place, or show, you're going to be in the black on this one, in the money. So again, shout out to everybody that joined the Masters pool. So any thoughts on the Final Four other than after, I got my parade?
I think UConn had, they showed themselves to be the best team in the tournament. I think there was a lot of upsets that we saw throughout the entire tournament, and UConn really just was very consistently through game after game after game. Obviously, they're the team that won the championship, but it was just the way that they were winning that was very impressive to me, where there really weren't a lot of games that were in doubt for them. And, of course, San Diego State, FAU, Miami that made it there. They had some good games, but also some close calls just to get there. I thought UConn looked like a very well coached team, very well. Obviously, a lot of talent on the team, of course, but I comfortably in the Final Four. I bet on them, in the Final Four, and of course in the Final Two, where they were laying points, and I was very comfortable laying those points.
Yeah.
I don't remember being so comfortable with a team laying the points like that, where I was like, yeah, don't matter. Like I even missed the line move from 6.5 to 7.5. And I'm like, yep. And I remember texting you like, hey, jumping on this now. I only see this getting away, but I'm still good here.
Yeah.
And of course you were like, well, I have a large money line bet, so I'm good. I don't need to lay the points.
Yeah. Once we got into the finals, I had a money line bet at UConn plus 1,800. So I was pretty happy with that.
I was pretty happy there too. So two things. One, I didn't realize this until I started saying it out loud so much. Are they named the Huskies because it's University of Connecticut, UConn? Like
the UConn, like the territory or the province?
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, that makes sense. That plays.
I kept hearing it. And when you hear something so many times, it sounds different. I started hearing it with like the emphasis on the Y, which of course there isn't one, but like the word like UConn. I was like, what? So anyways, that was one of my takeaways. But I wanted to ask you because
so they call them the Huskies because
So
just hear me out.
Before we move on to the Masters, there is one thing I want to touch on because you were in an interesting spot, and it's just kind of a game theory conversation. And you kind of threw it to the group chat to say, hey, what do I do here?
Yeah.
You were in a situation of, do I hedge this bet?
Right.
Guarantee myself some profit,
right,
and move on from there. Talk us through, how you really ended up with the decision that you made.
Yeah. So basically I had two options in terms of hedging. I could take the way to maximize the profit was for me to put a money line wager on San Diego State to win. I have to invest less to win more in that wager. Either way, I will win because one thing is for certain, one of those teams is going to win that game, right? And then the other option was to do the points, and potentially I hit both, whereas San Diego State covers and UConn wins, or if San Diego State wins, I still hit the bet, but I don't, get into I don't get the payout that I would on a money line bet. So there's almost no point of me doing that. Whereas, my risk is a lot higher in a spread hedge versus a money line spread anyway, or a money line hedge. Anyway, I just got to the point where I was just thinking about the game. I was thinking about the tournament, and I stopped being rational and thinking about numbers. I just said, Corey, who's winning this game?
Right.
Who is going to win this game? And the more I thought about it, the more I was certain that UConn would win the game because they're 9 deep and awesome. Like they have so much depth on that roster that they aren't susceptible to issues of star players being on the bench because the bench produces. They're 4 deep on the bench and they can all score and play defense specifically. Yeah. And what I was like, okay, so how does San Diego State win this game? And what I kept coming back to was they have to keep UConn in the 50s. That's the only way that they can win this game is if they are a better defensive team. And I just didn't see that adding up. So I let it ride, took it home, started to sweat there around 5 minutes when they cut it to 4.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes of the game where they're feeling each other out.
Well, the first 5 minutes of the game, San Diego State came out with their fucking pants on fire, and UConn looked sloppy, right? So that was concerning to me. But when the UConn took control at halftime, everyone's like, "Oh, this is over." At halftime, even announcers, Kenny was sitting there going, "Congratulations to UConn. They won a national championship." And I think a lot of people felt that way, but you watch San Diego State slowly at 10 minutes, they're cutting it, 7 minutes, 5 minutes. I think at one point they were only down 4 again in the second half, bringing that thing back. So I started to sweat there a little bit because all the momentum was with the Aztecs. UConn obviously rose out on top. So let's see. We got some stuff popping into the chat here. If you guys aren't already, go ahead and like and share on Facebook. Really helps us out, growing the community, and subscribe on YouTube. Bobby with a comment saying UConn was just put together different this year. Laid the absolute wood the whole tournament. Absolutely, Aaron. You were kind of alluding to that. And Aaron, I mean, I don't know if I haven't even looked at futures for next season, but they've got to be the odds out favorite to win it all next year, right?
Actually, it's funny you asked that because I did just have it up. I believe it was Duke.
Interesting.
In fact, yeah, I got it here. So Duke, UConn is third at plus 1,400. You want to venture a guess at who's in the middle there?
Kansas?
No, Kansas is at 5.
Give
you one more. We don't have to drag it on too long, but
let's go. North Carolina, Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky. Okay.
And again, right at this point, a lot of it is recruiting classes.
Yeah. So my strategy on a future, real quick, as we wrap up NCAA basketball, my future is going to be to wait to see where the AP poll comes out. Personally, I think UConn can absolutely win another national championship next year because of that depth that I just talked about. So I'm going to wait to see where the AP poll comes out. If UConn's sitting around 15, 16, 17, which they very well could, you never know. They could also be top 5 very easily.
Sure.
Then I'm jumping on a future because you're probably getting like 24, 25, which is better than I even got it in February. So, yeah, just some thoughts.
Yeah, in general, I'm not a huge fan of making futures at this stage in the game. There's so much time between now and then. You're not
buying a lottery ticket.
You're really not getting a lot of value, if you will. The only times it ever makes sense is if you can see, like, I actually remember calling out when we were talking about the NFL after the season ended, was the Jets were at plus 2,800. Not that I loved it, but I was like, I could see Rodgers going there, and then it flips it. And I don't think that makes him a Super Bowl favorite by any means, but in terms of extracting value, that would have been a move to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Bobby, thanks for the comment here. Let's see. Are the Commanders the Commanders because our Commanders are commanding in Washington? It's a good question. People are asking. Big if true. Big if true. All right, Aaron. It is the Masters on CBS. I cannot wait for tomorrow morning.
Hello, friends.
Hello, friends. Jim Nantz sign off in the Final Four. Just like,
what a life, dude. He's like, all right, I'll see you guys next week at the Masters.
Tradition unlike any other. The Masters on CBS. It's going to be fantastic. So what are we expecting, I guess, out of the course this week, Aaron? What are we expecting weather-wise? Obviously, there's the media-driven circus about LIV, PGA coming together, the drama that is or is not there. Just give me, what are you anticipating from a golf side, and then we'll get into some of the action on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, the weather doesn't look fantastic by any means. Of course, as with the weather, things can change, but Friday, Saturday look like it's going to not only be a little bit damp, but it's going to get colder for Saturday and Sunday. So kind of something to think about when you are placing these bets. One of the things that I would advise is, somebody who I actually really like and I have in our Masters pool, but somebody like Jason Day, for instance. I think the weather is going to affect him potentially, in a round like this, when it's somebody who has had some injury concerns over the last couple of years, whether it just be, a little bit extra aching. Those things certainly do matter outside of just the course conditions, which of course are the obvious, ramifications, not to mention if games need to be postponed or anything like that. I believe has been sometime in the 80s was the last time we had a Masters that did not finish on Sunday. So something to think about. Me hosting people for Easter. If you guys want to push it to Monday a little, it's okay. Just kidding. No, either way, I'd be at work, so it wouldn't make a difference. But yeah, I mean, you certainly have to think about it. And then I'm curious, back over to you on the LIV part of it. How big of a deal is that for the Masters this year?
According to one of the guys on the LIV tour, Brooks Koepka, Bubba Watson, I apologize. According to Bubba Watson, it's not a big deal. It's only a big deal to the media. Then they make a bigger case out of it than it is. And Bubba had referenced, having conversations with Rory, and, he's got a couple of guys from PGA that asked to do the par 3 and some practice rounds with him and stuff like that. So Um, I I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. At the end of the day, these guys are professionals. I think that it's a lot easier to take issue with certain things when you're not right in front of that person. Because when you're right in front of that person, what you're thinking about is your previous face-to-face experience with them,
Sure.
rather than what you've either read about them or thought about them. It's just whether it's a nerves thing or something like that. It's just a lot easier to be more, even if it's fake, more personable in person, right? So I don't foresee it being a huge issue. I would love to see Rory and Cam Smith end up playing together. That would just be fucking hilarious.
That would be cool.
It would be poetry, especially if Rory were to win the Masters, which odds-on favorite right now, if I'm not mistaken, Rory McIlroy. Is this the year that Rory finally gets it done, Aaron?
It could be. From a golf standpoint, I don't see any reason why it couldn't be. From a betting perspective, there's absolutely no value there for me. I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
I like Rory. He hasn't closed and finished. So if you're doing an outright winner, if he's got the best odds, that doesn't do anything for me. It's implying that, every 6.5 times he's going to win. I don't even recall the last major he has won.
It's been about 4 or 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, that Rory's won a major. Yeah.
So at that pace, it just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, and I get that. I think the reason why is just how well he's been playing to start the season. He's been playing phenomenal. That's not unique to me, so I'm kind of in line with you. Like, it's not crazy for Rory to be playing good golf. Like, Rory plays good golf a lot of the time.
Right.
It's just Augusta has seemed to have his number. Rory is a driver. That's not to say there's not other parts of his game that are phenomenal as well. Around the greens, he's great. I think, at times, especially more so last couple of years than this year, has left a lot to be desired on the green. But this Augusta is not a driving course. It's a second shot course. That is where you make your money at Augusta. It's in your fairway irons and your wedge play. It's not with your driver. That's why you see a guy like Bryson just get chewed up by this golf course. So it's just something that, you got to keep in mind. And now that kind of leads me into betting strategy as we're looking at the Masters. Based on what we're saying, okay, it's going to be a messy course. We're thinking, some weather potentially. It's a second shot course. It's got all the allure and all of the magic that is the Masters, Aaron. We talked about identifying value. Where are you identifying value outside of tournament winner? We'll address that here in a little bit. Where are you identifying, whether it's some 3-ball plays, round winner plays, top 20, 10 or 5 plays? What are we looking at?
Yeah, there's, in terms of value on like your -110 bets, I'm actually not really doing a ton of like 2-ball or 3-ball. Mine are more, frankly, long shot bets, which I know isn't the proper way.
Yeah, but I fucking love it, Aaron.
And I was telling you before, the Masters is the Super Bowl of golf. And what do we do in the Super Bowl? We make crazy, silly, stupid bets.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly between now and tee off. Now that I'll have calmed down a little bit from the excitement, I'll make a couple 110 bets and things like that. There is one bet that I'm really high on at -135, so I'm laying a good amount of juice here. But it's just Phil Mickelson to miss the cut.
Ooh, I love that. What sportsbook are you getting that for all the lovely people at home?
I'm actually doing a combined between FanDuel and MGM because I got a boost or a play, but
not a boost. We beware the boost.
No, actually for this tournament, there's a couple actually out there, and they're not.
For this tournament, we're throwing all rules out the window. This is a special. This is like when your parents let you eat candy before noon.
Yeah, we're having ice cream for dinner tonight.
It's Easter Sunday. Yes, of course you can have some candy out of your Easter basket.
We'll go back to fucking smarter bets.
Communist China.
But we got some good ones here. So, but really, Corey, real quick, what it was is I had a ticket to use, but I can only use $10. and then I was getting better odds on MGM. So I believe it was minus 140 and minus 128 between the two of them. So the implied there is going to be minus 135 across my, two bets I made across two books. But here's the thing, man. You actually take a look, and I was curious. Phil has done okay on the live tournament. His last three, I actually just had it pulled up here. So in 2023, he has finished, excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat here. His last three rounds are +1, -1, and even. Give me 1 second here.
You're good.
Get his last
strawberry seltzer, baby.
His last scores before that were +10, +10, +6, +2. He was finishing 34th, 42nd. And this is against other live golfers where I'm going to tell, like, the PGA has more high-end talent.
Yeah.
Also, Phil hasn't exactly lit the world on fire the last couple of times he's played the Masters either. I think he's going to show up. I think he's one of those players in the live tour that has lost some respect of some of the PGA Tour golfers. I think he's going to feel a little bit of the heat on the course. He's not going to be, the last time he was here, Phil Mickelson was a guy who people cheered for. He was a big name, and I think now he's going to be viewed a little bit more in that villain role. Yeah. I'm laying some juice here, but I'm taking him not to make the cut.
Interesting. So I'm going from a value perspective in that I don't think I'm taking anything other than even money or better right now in the Masters. So I've got 4 top 20 bets. I went top 20 bets last week in the Valero Texas Open, and I hit 1 out of 2. They were both plus money wagers, so I made money. And that's kind of the strategy I'm going to imply for these top 20 bets as well. So I got Will Zalatoris at plus 130, top 20. Tom Hoge plus 260, top 20. Again, now Hoge won the par 3. So there's the curse of the par 3 champion that looms heavy over him as he enters in his first round tomorrow at the Masters. Chris Kirk plus 300, top 20. And Victor Hovland plus 120, top 20. So I've got those 4: Victor Hovland, Chris Kirk, Tom Hoge, Will Zalatoris. I have to hit 2 of those to make money. 2 of those will cover the losses that I get from not making those. So that's my strategy. 2 out of 4 on that. I make money on the top 20 wagers. What do you think of that strategy, Aaron?
No, I certainly like it. And the guys that you had mentioned are certainly golfers that are on my radar. In our pool, I have Kirk as one of my 25 plus golfers. Hoge has been playing some good golf of late. Yeah, there's the curse of the par 3, but that's for winning it. I don't know what the stats are of the par 3 guys to place top 20. I think that's going to be a little bit different. So I like it. You had Zalatoris and Hovland. I love Hovland, and Hovland is such a good ball striker. Like you were saying, it's a lot. Your second shot is very important on this course. I just have a bad taste in my mouth of betting on him a couple rounds ago, or a couple championships ago, just because. And that's all personal preference. I'm not comfortable at a smaller plus than I am excited about some of like the Hoagies or the Kirk bets on there.
And again, my goal is simply to make money. It's not necessarily, my goal is to that 2 of 4 of those hit, and I like the odds that 2 of 4 of those are going to hit.
I do.
Yeah,
I do too.
So
I'm doing actually a little parlay action. So FanDuel is letting you parlay. Obviously, if you place it before the championship, they won't do the live ones. Where you can actually parlay the top finishes. I'm not a big parlay guy, but again, when in Rome, we're here for the Masters. So this is more of just a safe one for me, and I'm getting it at plus 285. But I have Scheffler and Rahm both finishing in the top 20, and Jason Day finishing in the top 30.
What are the odds that come out on that one?
Plus 285.
Okay.
Again, parlay, anything can go wrong. We saw Rahm, was it last or 2, whatever it was, his last outing, withdraw because he was sick.
Players,
things like that. Yeah, things like that can just happen. And
sure.
And that's unfortunate to see. But, I'm pretty comfortable in those guys being in that position unless there's an injury or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I got outside of the top 20s, I don't have any parlays other than one little juicy boost here. that I got Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, or Victor Hovland win the Masters plus 850. So I get those three options at plus
Run those through again.
Colin Morikawa, Justin Thomas, or Victor Hovland.
Okay, I like that.
One thing I really like about JT, you look at, again, it's going to be sloppy. You try and look at guys who are going to play there. That's why a lot of people are in on Shane Lowry. You know, comfortable playing in sloppy conditions. A lot of people are in on Rory because of that. So a lot of people just kind of following that trend. Justin Thomas is one of those guys that they say tends to play well when it comes to bad conditions. My strategy, this is both picking my team and throwing some Hail Marys out on tournament winners because I do have some tournament winner bets.
Okay. I do too.
My strategy has been two things. I've looked at two factors to identify who I wanted to compile my team for our Masters pool at realitysports.com and to make my tournament winning bets. We already talked about it. Augusta is not a driving course. It's a second shot course. And then next to that, I think it'd be a putting course. The greens are going to be brutal, I think, by Sunday. You got to have touch. You got to be able to putt. So the two statistics I looked at, Aaron, shots gained on approaching the green and strokes gained on approaching the green and strokes gained with putting. So I compared those two. When I looked at those two, I came out with my team, and I came out with there's only one individual that's in the top 10 of both of those. Can you take a wild guess at who that is?
Scheffler?
Max Homa.
Okay.
Max Homa is the only individual that is in the top 10 in both strokes gained for approaching the green and strokes gained with putting. So I got a tournament winner on Max.
Okay.
At plus 3,000. This is a top 10 player in the world right now in Max Homa.
Sure.
Other people that I have a tournament winner on, Tony Finau. A lot of money going on Tony. What's the deal with that, Aaron? Why do you think there's such an attraction for Tony to win it all?
I think he's a really likable guy, and I think he's due. I also think his skill set matches up really well with Augusta.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of all the same things you said. Don't get me wrong. You know, Finau can drive it with some of the best of them. But I think we've seen him, you know, not only have some, you know, good rounds, but he's been playing well of late. We're seeing a lot of top 10 finishes, and you want to have that momentum coming into this. The one interesting thing about Augusta is, unlike any other major, it's the only one that's played in the same location every time. So you can actually take a look at, you know, how have these guys historically played at this course? I can't look at the U.S. Open from this year and last year and extrapolate anything other than how do they handle under pressure. It's an entirely different course.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that regard, I think with Augusta, we already talked about it. I think putting's going to be a challenge for people, especially Saturday and Sunday. The greens are going to get burned out. Putting is going to be harder. I put more emphasis, since that's a level playing field for everyone. Everyone's going to have a hard time putting. I put more emphasis on strokes gained approaching the green than I did on putting. Tony Finau, top 10 in strokes gained approaching the green. Scotty Scheffler also in that box. I did not place a tournament winner on Scotty, though. Another guy in the top 10 on approaching the green, Colin Morikawa, plus 2,500. Got him for a winner. Obviously, I already mentioned Max there. Chris Kirk, plus 12,500. This is a guy that you've thrown some cash on in the last couple of tournaments, Aaron.
Yeah.
Like Chris Kirk going in tomorrow?
Yeah, he's one of the guys I have in my pool. I certainly do. You know, obviously the reason those odds are what they are is, you know, I don't know that he's going to win it, but if the value that you're going to get from that, you know, I think that's good to throw some, you know, decimal point units on. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going in with with a third of a unit on every single one of these bets. Yeah.
They're lottery tickets. If they hit, fantastic. If not, I've got other bets. I've got other bets to make up for it, basically, that I feel a lot more.
Bank.
Exactly. Let's stress that to everybody here. Another great value pick, Tom Hoagie. Got him at plus 10,000. And then my final bet to win the Masters, a guy that's done it before. I got Dustin Johnson plus 2,500.
Sure.
Honestly, if Dustin's on tour, I think he's ranked one of the top 10 golfers in the world. He's just not. So, excuse me, the points are just coming a little bit different for DJ. Obviously, Cam Smith still in the top 10 in the world golf rankings, but I think Dustin Johnson, he's from that part of the country. He's won the Masters before. I think he's still probably one of the best golfers on the planet. Absolutely has a shot to do it.
I think people underrate his competitiveness too.
Yes.
You know, he seems like a very, you know, obviously he's a giant human being.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, for a golfer. But you know, he doesn't really say a whole lot. He's not a big personality,
No.
or at least what he puts out there. But he's still somehow very polarizing, and maybe it's because he, you know, pulled Gretzky, but who knows? But yeah, I mean, those are those all your outrights?
Yeah, those are my outright winners. What do you got?
So I have two, and it's interesting. We're basically doing two opposite strategies here, where I don't love betting outrights because I might in the middle of the round. I just want to kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah,
you know, like you said, these are all lottery tickets at the beginning of it. I did put a little bit down on Cam Smith, and he's himself said he's not in his best place right now. But all I keep coming back to is the last time we saw him really, you know, unless you're watching Live, is him winning the British Open and going toe to toe with Rory to finish that in one of the, you know, coolest finishes I've seen. And, you know, he went to Live right after that. So I've always been a big Cam Smith fan. I was really not disappointed. He can do what he wants, but I was a little upset as a fan of his and wanting to continue to watch him on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool to see him back here, and I'm excited to watch him. He's really good with the putter. He can get hot with the best of them, but he's also, you know, he's one of the guys that going into Sunday being down 6 strokes is a guy who can come back and win. So I like his reachability on the course in terms of, you know, even if he gets down early, I don't think he's going to necessarily be out, where you might see with some other golfers. The other one is kind of just a hedge against my pool because I think it is Rahm's turn, but I like Rahm at plus 950. He's playing he was playing some of the best golf going into. There's a cat over here.
Yeah, Squeaks is saying hi on the pod.
He was playing some of the best golf I had ever seen. He was probably playing better than Scheffler.
Mm-hmm.
And these last couple of rounds, you know, just not having it, and I think that's a little bit of recency bias here. I think he should. I think he should be at the very least the second favorite, where Scheffler should be the first, and I don't think Roy should be the top, but. You know, that is what it is. So I see a little bit there, but that's pretty much it for the outrights.
I wanted to kind of touch on a point you had made about Cam, you know, because I kind of resonate with that feeling that you were kind of disappointed when he left for the Live. I mean, it is what it is. I felt that way about DJ. Dustin Johnson is one of my favorite golfers because of the things that you mentioned. You can just tell he's a fiery competitor. He is very level, you know, he's almost, you know, insanely level in that his emotions don't fluctuate. And when he's on, it's insane. It's no one can stop him, like putting specifically. If Dustin Johnson is making 7-8 footers, good night. You're done, because there's not really any other part of his game that hurts him. He's very precise off the tee. His approach shots are phenomenal. He can get within 10 to 12 feet almost every single time. It's, can he knock down those birdie putts, those 7 to 10 foot birdie putts to score, right? So he's one of my favorite golfers, and it sucked when he left, because, you know, I'm going to if it on the weekend I'm watching the PGA. That's just what I'm watching. Right. There's not enough over there at the Live. There's way more tradition that I value when I'm watching golf at the PGA. So that's where I go.
I also, you know, we know about all the controversy surrounding it, so I won't touch on that. But of course, that's part of it. And there's also, I just don't like the format. Yeah, you know what I mean. It seems very hokey to me.
Mm.
Like you said, there is something about that tradition. I do look like this every weekend when it's golf season because I go out golf. It's just there's something about the normalcy of it, and
Yeah.
golf is supposed to, I don't know, just not necessarily look as.
Well, we lost Aaron for just a brief minute, but he's back. He's
There we
already
go.
back. There he is.
But yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like if
Yeah.
I only have so much time, I'm certainly tuning into the PGA. I'll be honest, I have no idea what's even been going on with Liv.
No idea.
That's how
I think Brooks just won one. I think Brooksy just won.
I heard that only because of doing, hey, who should I take a look at?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one of the bets that I'm making along the lines of another one I told you, but plus 240 is Brooks not to make the cut.
Interesting.
I kind of, as silly as this sounds, I've never been a Brooks fan. And I'm kind of just rooting against him in a way. But I think if there is anybody, I think there's something about these live players coming back and not being in this, it's going to be a different environment.
One question I've heard raised is, will they have the endurance for 4 rounds of golf at this point?
Exactly. Not to mention the last time we saw, Brooks at Augusta, he was cut. He finished with a +6, and then the year before that, although he made the cut, he was tied for 60th at +5, earning a nice $10K for him. But times before that, hey, 7th, 2nd, 11th. I just think in terms of Koepka, again, it's a value bet where I can see the narrative in that happening. Of course, it's more likely that he won't, but that's why I'm getting the plus 240. It was one that stood out to me as well between Koepka and of course Mickelson.
I wanted to ask you this. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Full swing made me not like him even more. Did you fall into that?
That's certainly part of it. Yeah, I already was. I wouldn't say I still don't hate him.
No,
but I was just I was like, I don't, he's fine. He's whatever.
Let me put it to you this way. Brooks Koepka is good for golf, the sport. Yeah. He's extremely marketable. It's just, I think he's a little bit, I don't know, it kind of just seems like a douchebag, no? I don't know.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like a guy that I just be like, I really want to hang out with him at some point. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's just
Brooks, if you want, come on the show, defend your honor.
Defend yourself, dude. Just come up and show us that we got it all wrong. Maybe we do. But just come on and talk to us and show, I could have a beer with this guy, which is, by the way, the only way to it's the only barometer possible for male friendship. Sure. Could you have a beer with this individual and it not suck? Beers are hard to make suck. So if somebody can do that, then probably not for you, man.
And then on the complete opposite side, and you have like Scotty Scheffler, who is just such,
he's Ned Flanders, dude.
He's American white bread. Well, I mean, you just look at his dinner menu for the Masters dinner tonight. I just think it's hilarious. It's like
cheeseburgers and chocolate chip cookies.
It's like, if you look at that menu, if you go to like your local bar or Applebee's or Cheesecake Factory, or it's just hilarious to me.
Yeah. But look,
I'd eat it. It sounded good.
Ribeye and I think red snapper were the entrees.
Sliders.
Yeah, sliders were the apps. And I think they had skillet chocolate chip cookies with ice cream, a la mode, as it is often, a la modi. Yeah, absolutely. Delicious, nonetheless. Delicious. And another cool thing I saw about the Masters dinner, Tiger's Restaurant in Jupiter, Florida, served the Masters Champions dinner, the same menu. They had the exact same menu. And I am thinking, if I am a restaurant owner in a golf community such as Jupiter or Savannah or Charleston or St. George, Utah, or wherever, I'm absolutely doing that every year from here on out. I'm serving whatever the Champions dinner is. That's my menu for the night. And you do it to your budget. But what a treat that would be is like, I would make that a tradition with my family. It's like, all right, every Wednesday before the Masters, or what is it, Tuesday night? Yeah. Tuesday night before the Masters.
So it's Sunday around 7:00, and Scotty Scheffler is putting a green jacket on your back, Corey. It is now the Masters Dinner 2024.
Oh,
fast forward a year.
Fuck.
What's your champions menu? Putting you on
All
the
right.
spot.
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot, but I'm gonna do the best that I can here. I'm gonna do my best, Bradley Cooper here. We are going to have for our appetizer. We are going to have wood stove fire roasted garlic, fresh chopped tomatoes, pads of goat cheese, and fresh handheld pads of garlic bread or bread toast. We're going to be doing a build your own bruschetta. Each person gets a plate with those things, and they can make their own bruschetta as they see fit. So we're going to do bruschetta, fire roasted garlic that just melts like butter when you spread it with a knife.
I like that.
Some goat cheese that you can place on there with tomatoes mixed with a little balsamic and some was that basil in there as well. It's going to be delicious. It's going to pop tons of flavor. So that's our appetizer. Do I have salad next, or are we doing is it two on?
It's appetizer, and then it's usually like a soup or a salad. I think Scotty's was like, again, chicken tortilla soup. Like,
yeah, delicious. Applebee's. I'm going to do a lobster bisque is going to be next. Very creamy, rich, filling, delicious. Following that, we'll do a seafood and a meat, I think is what they typically do. So for the meat, I'm going to do a New York strip served with potato wedges, so steak and fries. And then for the fish, I'm going to do a garlic butter roasted salmon.
Sure.
And then for dessert, I am going to be doing a white chocolate raspberry cheesecake with Oreo crust.
Oh man, I would do cheesecake for sure.
Yeah,
sure. Like
I mean, it's actually
that's my entree.
All right, I got to hear yours.
I mean, I'll go quick. I mean, I would probably start something with like a caprese salad appetizer kind of thing like that.
Maybe on the kebabs.
You could do it on kebabs. Yeah. All right.
Little skewers, little toothpicks.
Sure. Yeah. Let's make it classy. Yeah. I'm probably doing like a some kind of like fancy like garlic chili wing. Where they have them stand up on each other.
Oh yeah, dude.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got the scallions or the green onions on top of it. Maybe a little like Korean barbecue style.
Love it.
Little hot, little tang. For a salad, I'm gonna go just a classic Caesar.
Can't beat it.
It is just, I have grown such an affection for the Caesar salad of late. Actually, when we were in Vegas, they did like a table side, like where they like literally from scratch.
Fuck yeah, man.
You, we went to like the oldest steakhouse in Las Vegas, and I wasn't paying, so it was fantastic. But yeah, so I'm on a big Caesar kick. For the dinner, I'm kind of torn because on one hand, I'm like, yeah, let's make like a really nice steak,
right?
But if it's tailored to like me as a person, it's got to be pizza.
Oh, I love it.
Like a
you can like a fancy So thin crust, deep dish. What are you thinking?
Yeah, probably like a little bit of a thin crust.
I love it.
Maybe more somewhere between like a flatbread or a bruschetta, like you said.
Love it.
Certainly in that realm, and then probably still like a little cut fillet. Maybe get a little bit of best of both worlds. Usually they have two entrees and then, like you said, a fish. I'm going like brown sugar roasted salmon. I'm right with you on the salmon. Yeah. If I really wanted to throw a curveball, maybe do like some sushi because I like sushi a lot. And then for the dessert, I'm with you. I'm not 100% sure what flavor, but would you say raspberry?
I said white chocolate raspberry.
Yeah, something strawberry raspberry cheesecake. I think is 100% the way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, that just warms my heart. That's beautiful.
It's well, like the
yeah, dude, it's just perfect. So the Masters is starting tomorrow. Again, thank you to everybody that entered the Masters pool. Head to rallytowsports.com to view your team and everyone else's team. Shout out to everybody. This is our one fundraiser of the year. Helps us promote the pod, ads, stuff like that. We're not putting, we're taking 10% off the pot, but we're not putting any of it into our own pockets. We're reinvesting it back into the platform.
And typically when everybody, does these, keep in mind, we're typically doing these split with charity, and we will continue to do so. This allows us to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives us an opportunity to grow. And the more people we get involved in these pools, the more we are able to donate to charity. So again, I'm going to just go ahead and show this right here. This is rallytowelsports.com. You can head on over here. It's right on the homepage. Check it out. We also have our link tree available where you can go and check out different aspects of Rally Towel Sports. Of course, we've got our YouTube. We've got Rally Towel Sports merch, our Twitter, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It is all right here in our link tree. But back to the website, you can head over to our blog where our latest post, Aaron.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I love the Detroit Lions. This is where our blog is posted. We've got a new addition to Rally Towel Sports. Rachel Marie Sports joining us, domiciled in the Orlando area, but a massive Lions fan, so fits right in with all of our other franchise of pain, but on the upswing, baby. The Lions are on the upswing. I'm excited for a Lions fan to be part of Rally Towel Sports next year, man.
Yeah. Yeah, just like a game of Risk, we keep building out. We're getting more. Now we're into the NFC Central.
North, NFC North,
or NFC North. I mean, yeah,
yeah, dude. Yeah, when we were like fucking 11.
Well, no, I'm saying it's baseball now. So
yeah.
Yeah. All right,
but yeah, keep going. You were there. No, expanding into the NFC. We've got the NFC North, some expansion there. I think NFC South is an interesting dynamic right now. Obviously, with the Panthers have the first overall pick, man. That we could touch a little bit on that before we get into the NBA. Or do you have anything else on the Masters?
I got a couple more Masters.
Oh, you do? Oh, dude, feed us.
Good. So two that I really like. One's at plus 400. One's at plus 500.
Okay.
Are Scheffler to be in the final group and Rahm to be in the final group. Now, the reason of course, basically top three going into Sunday. The reason I really like this is
top two has to be top two, right? Are they doing?
I think it's still in threes, right? Or no?
So it's top two because
you're right.
They did top three last weekend because of the rain delay to make sure they got the tournament finished.
Yeah, you're right. So I like those just because those are guys who are consistently there. When we get there Sunday, it's also a fun thing to just kind of root for. Again, I'm not.
So what you're really betting on then, Aaron? Sorry to cut you off. But what you're really betting is that they will have one of the best two scores after Saturday's round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to be leading into Sunday. So kind of gives me something to root for on Saturday specifically, which I think makes it a little bit fun as well. FanDuel's got some cool little like specials going on. So one of the ones that I played because I wanted to have a little bit of skin in the game to root for this at plus 160, it's Tiger to make the cut, Spieth to finish in the top 20.
I like that.
So both of those, of course, have to happen, but I want to have a little bit of money on rooting for Tiger, which you don't really need because everyone's going to be rooting for Tiger anyway. It'll be curious to see how he plays, and that's certainly something I'm excited, and I know everybody is, to see. Outside of that, the only other one that I have here, there's two. One is just a straight up, let's throw this shit against the wall and see if it sticks, because it's at plus 14,600 is Rahm, JT, and Homa to finish in the top 5. But that's $3 to win 438, and it's it's just.
I mean, hey man, I mean, it's not like you got a bad group of guys there making that up. You know what I mean? Right. If that were the final three, no one would be shocked.
No,
right? Same as to your other bets. If it's Sunday and it's Rahm versus Scotty, no one is surprised at all. No one is surprised. I think in terms of you had mentioned something to root for on Saturday. I think a lot, similar to the Super Bowl, we're drawing parallels in terms of gambling, right? Between the Masters, you're about to putt.
Yeah, I got a putt now.
So in between the Masters,
I'll line this up.
or we're comparing the Masters and the Super Bowl. Honestly, where I make a lot of my money in betting on the Super Bowl is live betting.
Right.
So after 2 rounds, Friday night, I fully anticipate throwing down some money on different guys depending on where they're at. If one guy is hanging back 6 strokes, 7 strokes, and his name happens to be Eldrick Woods, I'm probably going to throw some money on him just because it's something fun to root for. And I think everybody wants to see Tiger do it. At the end of the day, yeah, we've probably got money on other guys, but if you could pick one guy that you would really want to see win this Masters, Aaron, who is it?
I mean, outside of Tiger, because I'm always going to root for Tiger. It's a good question. It's probably there's a couple that I would feel I could easily get behind and root for. One of those is Finau. I'd love to see him, finally take down a major. And I guess everyone. I root for Rory as well. Honestly, what I'm rooting for is the final pairing to be Tiger Rory.
Oh man.
That you couldn't write. That would be the narrative that you couldn't write.
Obviously, great buddies, and they respect the hell out of each other, and
the odds of that happening are got to be astronomical.
Oh my god!
But it's
can you imagine the gallery? And that's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about who I would want outside of Tiger. Like, who do I want to see win? And I'm just thinking about the gallery. After a 16 alone, and then coming up 17 and then down 18, bringing it in the clubhouse, just the gallery following this pairing. If Rory Tiger would be insane, Rory Cam insane. I think anything involving Rory, specifically if he is like in contention, he's coming down, it's gonna be electric, man. And that's what the Masters is about.
I wonder if you could find this bet anywhere, and I might look for it, but I would love to bet on the final pairing to be PGA versus Live.
Ooh, and what would you?
I mean, so I'm just saying,
depending on the value.
Say it's well, you're betting on the fact that that's what the final pairing would be. So it could be any combination of Scheffler versus Dustin, or exactly. Yeah. Like I think that would be an interesting, because I think when I'm betting and taking long shots, I almost want to invest in narratives that I think can happen, because the Masters is such a spectacle, and we know that this happens time and time again. What's the narrative, or what's the the storyline going to be going into Sunday or this weekend, and how can I try to cash on that?
Yeah, and I think they do a good job of just creating it out of whatever it happens to be. Obviously, we're not implying that there's any fabrication going on here, but it's just it's just such a magical tournament. And with Sunday being Easter as well, it'll just be it'll be that that much more. It'll be a special time, I'm sure, for whomever is lucky enough to put on that jacket at 5 o'clock on Sunday afternoon.
Well, when you talk the meme of the script writers for the NFL, golf's the one where there's no way that could actually happen, because they'd be like, all right, Aaron, now we're going to need you to hole out here from 170. And you're like, I wish I could.
Absolutely.
Just make this 5-footer. That'd be dope.
Yeah, that'd be sick, wouldn't it? Absolutely. All right, sweet. So yeah, again, if you entered the Masters pool, it's at realitysports.com. Go check it out, and thanks again. Anything else on the Masters, Aaron?
No, I think we pretty much covered it. And of course, make sure you're following us on the socials, because we'll be not only tweeting along with it, but some live bets and things like that coming.
Absolutely. At rally_towel_s. Don't forget, tomorrow night we have Ring 'em Up right here on YouTube, Facebook, and of course, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can check that out. All right, Aaron, it's time. We're moving in. We've got just a handful of games left in both these leagues, but I'm going to focus first on the NBA playoff push, MVP race, betting strategy. How are we going out to end the year? We'll start with betting strategy, Aaron, with just 3-4 games left for each team.
About 2 to 3,
What are you looking at?
I'm not. And I know that's crazy, but I'm just staying away from it. You have teams, in the East, for instance, the Bucks, Celtics, Sixers, Cavs, and now Knicks have all clinched. The Cavaliers and the Knicks quite literally cannot move. The Cavs locked up the 4 seed, and the Knicks have locked up the 5 seed. And the Cavs already announced today that 5 of their regular starters aren't going to be playing, and that you consistently see that as well. Giannis wasn't playing for the Bucks tonight. I'm okay with sitting out 2 games. I have that kind of self-control, I know, where I cannot bet on the NBA in a given night. There's no problem with that. I just don't like the volatility in the lineups. I'm going to wait until at least the play-in, but it's interesting to see because some of these matchups are starting to, you can start looking at. So what I'm going to do is start doing a little bit of research on maybe like the Cavs Knicks, who I know are going to be playing each other in about a week and a half.
Love it. Love it. So then looking at MVP, we talked about this last week.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically a 3-person race at that point. Embiid, Jokic, Giannis. Last week I talked about, just from a value standpoint, Giannis being the only person I'm going to place a bet on. I'm getting it's a coin flip. At that time, it was even odds. Embiid or Jokic, both minus money. Giannis is the only individual at plus money. So from a value perspective, it could have been at that point either Embiid or Jokic. I don't see value in placing a bet on either one of those at negative odds.
Sure.
A whole week has since passed. Where are you landing on the MVP race? Are you placing a bet on it? What's going on there?
Well, I'm lucky I already have a ticket on it that I placed about a month and a half ago.
Sure.
I played 2 tickets. I played Giannis to an MVP and I played Embiid to an MVP. Jokic was the odds-on favorite at that point, and I just know how real voter fatigue is in the NBA.
Yes,
and
we talked about this last week as well.
And although Jokic has played nothing but admirably this year, you have to not only do what you did last year, you have to do it at a better rate. And in a vacuum, there's nothing about the Joker season that isn't deserving of an MVP when you're just putting your blinders on and not looking at. But the thing with the MVP is it is a, it's a media voted award. So like, what were we just talking about when we were talking about the Masters is it is about narratives. Embiid being there the last couple of years, or he's really been kind of almost jockeying for the award. I think everyone would agree that Giannis is still the best player in the league, but it's a single season award. So taking a look at last night, I think all but sealed it. The Nuggets lost to the Houston Rockets in a game where Jokic was, underperformed. The 76ers beat the team that is 1 seed ahead of them in the playoffs, where Embiid goes off for 52 and the Philadelphia 76ers go off for 51. I'm going to go ahead and give it to Embiid at this point. We saw the odds drop to about minus 700 this morning after the game. I'm certainly not, if you didn't get in now, if you didn't get in already, it's certainly not worth it to get in now. I just don't see any way that Embiid doesn't win this. And I'm not only saying that as a ticket holder.
Yeah, no, I absolutely appreciate that. But I had said kind of the same thing in last week on the show, is that if I had to guess which one it was going to be, it would be Embiid. If I had to place a bet, which I didn't place a bet on MVP, it would have been on Giannis. Who do I think is going to win it? Embiid, because of the voter fatigue, the things that you had mentioned. I think it's really difficult for the voters to give it to a guy 3 times in a row. Why doesn't Embiid deserve it? You can't make a case. You can't make a case against Embiid. You can't make a case, for Joker over Embiid. You can make a case that it's about the same, but you can't make a case that Joker is unequivocally better than Embiid this season. I think you can make that for Joel, and I think that's why he will win the award. Playoffs are right around the corner. We're kind of sitting back, analyzing what are we going to do, what's going to happen. Are you making any futures bet yet for the NBA Finals, Aaron?
I haven't just yet. I'll probably do a finals, bet where it's I like West versus East. I really like the Celtics to come out of the East again this year. I think they're playing some of their best basketball of late. Of course, that game that they had against the Bucks last week doesn't hurt either.
Yeah.
When you put the spanking on like that, but it just seems to me that there's only one team in the league that can fluster Giannis, and the Celtics just seem to always play well against the Bucks. And of course, I'm assuming that that's going to be a collision course in the in the Eastern Conference Finals. The West is a little bit more wide open though. I like the Suns. I think Kevin Durant, if healthy, is if healthy is the big word there.
Am
I willing to invest in that? The Nuggets have been unproven, although they've been the best team all year. It seems to be similar. And Corey, you'll be able to speak to this as a Jazz fan. It seems similar to some of those Jazz teams where it's, they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed going into this, but I don't know that I trust them to, get through to the end.
Yeah.
It just gives me that similar vibe.
I get it. Like the Suns last year.
Yeah, the West is completely wide open. Oddly enough, like there's been so much chatter about the Lakers, and I'm let's wait. Of
course
and see.
There is.
And of course, you can never sleep on Golden State.
That's where my future lies. I put a future on Golden State to win the title, and nobody wants them in the first round. Nobody at all wants them in the first round. And if they get to the let's just say they get to the Western Conference Finals, they win 2 playoff series. That they've been there. They know how to do it. They can handle the moment. And there has to be something said about that. If Clay and Steph are on and Draymond is playoff Draymond, nobody wants the Warriors in the playoffs. Nobody wants them at all.
No, but they are definitely they're different this year.
Yes.
And we'll see, hey, Wiggins is back now. Let's see what that looks like.
He was massive in the playoffs last year.
Right,
massive.
Exactly. And I think we forget that he's been on this team because he's been excused for the last 20 games. And we're glad to see him back. But for the playoffs themselves, I mean, the Warriors were a bad road team. And I'm not just they're 5. They were a bad road team this year. I think I'd have to look up the stats real quick, but I know it's like maybe like 33% win percentage.
Yikes. Tez, thanks for liking the stream, man. Appreciate you stopping by.
There,
no, I can look it up.
Okay. Oh, no, you're good. I thought that's what you're saying next to. So I just don't they're going to be the underdogs in whatever round. So they're going to play more road games in the playoffs if they go 7. So that's the part to me that it's going to be tough for me to see them do that. I get why that's not a bad bet for, your futures and everything like that. But
Warriors on the road, 9-30.
There you go. See, like just not good.
Yeah. Bad. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Of course, we'll be talking about, betting on the series and different things like that as the playoffs shake out. The other thing I just wanted to touch on, NHL. The NHL playoff push is right around the corner as well. Things are shaping up. Obviously, in the Eastern Conference, we've got Boston, Toronto, Tampa, Carolina, New Jersey, and the Rangers all having clinched a playoff spot. The wild card still open, and the Detroit Red Wings are hanging on, man. Great win last night for the Red Wings against Montreal. They are still not eliminated. It would take a long shot for them to get in the playoffs, but Detroit is hanging on. Those spots are held right now by Florida and the Islanders. Western side, same story. We've got 6 teams that have clinched 2 in each division, or 3 in each division, and the wild card currently held by Seattle and Winnipeg, with Calgary and Nashville the only other 2 teams not have been eliminated, and it is close there for that final wild card spot, with Winnipeg at 89 points, Calgary 87, and Nashville at 86. Winnipeg and Calgary going at it right now here, and 1-1 in the second. Huge matchup. See if the Jets can hold off the Flames. But anyway, futures bets. Boston is clearly the best team in the NHL right now, sitting at 125 points. The next closest team in the NHL is Carolina with 109 points. Next closest team in the West, Vegas with 104. Boston has been a piss missile this year, just destroying everybody. From a gambling perspective, we are, of course, the generous degenerates, Aaron. We've been crushing it on hockey lately, man.
Yeah.
We've been crushing on hockey. We went 4-1 last night. The strategy, of course, has been, and I've come to find that this isn't available on all sportsbooks. So a little plug for Caesars Sportsbook here, allows you to flex the spread from 1.5 to 1. So you can buy half a goal and get that spread down to 1 and give yourself an opportunity for a push. So what we've been able to do is find a favorite where the spread is 1.5. The spreads in hockey don't move much, Aaron. It's mostly just the juice that moves, depending on which way the money's going. So if I'm recognizing a favorite with plus odds, buy half a goal, get it down to -1, maintain those plus odds, and you only have to hit half your bets to make money. And it's been paying off for us. Last night we went 4-1. As of right now, we're looking at a 1-0-1 start to our 3 different bets that we got. Of course, follow us on Twitter for all of those. But I'm looking at value right now. So I did lay a couple of futures as we head into the playoffs. Look, I'm loving these futures. I hit one futures bet on UConn, and I'm just deciding that I'm a savant, and I'm gonna play as many as I can get. Let me pull them up here for us. They're both out of the Western Conference. Just a couple of teams that I've been liking the way that they've been playing. And it is the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup at plus 1,800, best team in the Western Conference. Let me make sure I'm correct on that. I'm sorry, not the best team in the Western Conference. I misspoke there. Anyway, Dallas Stars at plus 1,800 and the Minnesota Wild at plus 2,000. The fun thing about the Stanley Cup playoffs is if you get in, you have a shot. It's not crazy to see, the 6th best team in a conference finals. It's not crazy to see it. You just get that momentum. Hockey is very much a momentum sport where you carry it night to night. If you're playing well, you can ride that wave. If you're not playing well, it could be a short playoffs for you. So have you been able to catch any of the playoff push in the NHL? I know it's not a huge interest of yours, but I'm just curious.
No, it's not even that. I just don't really get, I don't have ESPN Plus and I don't have it for local. So I don't really get to watch a ton of games. I do really get into the Stanley Cup playoffs though. It's very, it's just such a good, event.
It's a good product.
It's awesome.
Great product. And there's it's on Tuesday night. You know what I mean? When there's not other marquee matchups that are available to watch, it's there ready to capture the market that's willing to watch it. So looking forward to that. We will keep you appraised to any other bets that we're deciding to lay down. And we'll see. I'm interested to see how this, buy half a goal, take the favorite at plus odds strategy. I'm interested to see how that plays out in the playoffs. Of course, we'll test it. But do you think there's any difference in that strategy as we move forward, or do you think it's just about maintaining value?
I think it's always going to be about maintaining value, but I think, there's certain times where it's okay to get away. Like, for instance, tonight when we were talking about the Masters, it's okay to get away from your rules and certain, betting, it's supposed to be fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How can you now, if you want to do this for profit, of course you want to stick to, your factors and values of things like you were just talking about. So it really depends on what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
And both sides are totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, paying the price of admission from your couch basically is another way to look at it.
They're going to start subscriptioning my couch next.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. You need to change your form of payment. It's like, dude, I bought this a year ago.
Like, all right, fine, but there's ads.
Next, fresh off the opening day, Aaron, baseball is back.
Baseball's back.
You enjoying the Guardian season so far?
They have been a really exciting team. I don't even know how to put it. They're never out of it. They're 5-2 to start, which is great.
Yeah.
It's really good because they're starting on the West Coast. And the last thing you want is a team that starts their season where all their games are at 10 o'clock. There are people here that probably don't even realize that the season's already started.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to come back after starting the season on a West Coast trip, 3-7 or something where it's shit, I'm not tuning into that. Right. So that's exciting. It should springboard them into a decent attendance to start, excitement around the city. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Guardians have been playing well. They've just had to, they've been a lot of extra innings. But
it's a good ball club in the Seattle Mariners as well to get things started. So it's not like they just went up against the Reds or the Royals or something like that.
Well, they did just go up against the Athletics, but yeah, but they're doing all right.
No, it's been fun. Have you been dabbling into betting on baseball yet?
A little bit. I've been doing a couple of the. I've been hitting some first fives.
Okay.
Where I like, where I know it's a good pitcher, and
So what's the strategy on that?
So the strategy on that is to just take the spread, or depending on what it is, the money line for the first 5 innings of the team that has, um, an elite pitcher, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that they're going to be involved in the game in the first 5 innings. Another thing you can do is to just take the opposing team's under in the first 5, because you're anticipating the fact that they're not going to put a ton on the board. I hope you haven't done that to start the season this year, although it is a decent strategy. The over is on fire in the MLB. I think there's a lot of theories as to why. Of course, the pitch clock, the shift, and interestingly enough, it seems like odds makers are almost a little bit slow for the reaction. I think you are going to see more offense this year because of those rule changes. I believe it was Monday night where I think the over went like 15-1.
Wow.
It was wild. Now I haven't really been dabbling a ton in it yet because I was very focused on college basketball and NBA. But as the dog days of the year kind of progress, I know we'll be getting into that a little bit further. What have you been doing? What's your plays?
So I tested a strategy and I put it out on Twitter. Buyer beware. Just testing this. We're gonna document it. Just shared knowledge, just for everybody's sake. If we're gonna be testing something, I want everybody to be able to benefit from the results of our test. So from basically Thursday to Tuesday, or was it Wednesday to Tuesday, something like that. Opening day to Tuesday, yesterday, I took every single favorite with plus odds to cover the spread. The results up until yesterday, we were 23-25. So being that all of this is plus odds, as long as we're averaging like plus 115, we're either breaking even or making money. Right. Which is not a crazy thing to average out to on these plus odds, but some of them being 190, some of them being 135,
Sure,
whatever.
sure.
Very rarely do you get like a 105. But anyway, yesterday we got bamboozled. We got absolutely taken to the woodshed, like a 2-6 record on eight of those plays. Interestingly enough, as I'm looking at it right now, I'm identifying a couple of low over-unders, with 2 of them for tomorrow already. We're seeing San Fran and the White Sox. White Sox just got blasted, giving up like 12 runs at 8 against San Francisco. And then I'm seeing a 7.5 with the Padres and Braves, 2 teams that know how to put the lumber on the ball there. 7.5 on the over and an 8 on the over. I'm not really ready to go at 8.5s just yet. I think if you're willing to test the theory, attack the lower ones, attack the ones that are easier to achieve, and just see what your ROI on that is. So I'll be looking at that tomorrow morning, and if I'm willing to test that for another week. Again, going in at like 0.25 units. And I'll do it in a large sample size. I'll put my money on the table to test this and share it with everybody. I think, that adds value to the pod. So why not? Fuck it, for the team. Let's go. I'll start throwing them out there, and let's just start attacking low range overs and see where we go from there. And we'll.
I like the round number too. I like the opportunity to push on those.
Love it, because at the end of the day, what you're really trying to do is 2 things. You're going to seek value and protect your money.
Yep, exactly.
If you're looking to make money while gambling on sports, those are the 2 things that you have to do.
100%.
Seek value and protect your money. At the end of the day, if you're playing blackjack and you push with the dealer, you won.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. You didn't lose money. That's awesome. You get to see another hand, which could turn blackjack, right? So it's the same kind of strategy: is protect your money, go after value. Absolutely. Yeah. Cool, man. A lot of baseball, like I've said. I'm sure we'll dive into that more as the season gets going. But this show is about one thing and one thing only: the Masters. I'm putting you on the spot here because you did it to me earlier.
Deal. Mayo cheese sandwich.
If you could pick 3 individuals to play Augusta with, dead or alive, who is it?
3 individuals to play. All right. So I think I'd definitely do Tiger because like you just have to.
Okay.
Like
They
I
don't
don't.
have to be just golfers
I know.
either. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I still would want Tiger there because someone has to
Okay.
line up the putts while we're drinking in the cart. Wow, that's a really good question. I would probably pick. Boy, Dave Grohl. I don't even know if he's
Nice.
I don't even know if he's a golfer, but I hope he is. And
In
if
this
not,
fantasy, yes, he
in
is.
this
He's absolutely
fantasy, I
not.
think Dave swings the sticks.
Yeah.
That would make a ton of sense. And then let's see. So I got Tiger, I got Dave Grohl. I feel like we need somebody to kind of cut it up. Bill Burr.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
I know he golfs and he'd be there to cut it up. I like it. Actually, if I could switch that, if I really could pick, it would be like one of like my comedy heroes would be like Conan. I would take Conan out there. That would be almost too silly.
So you got Tiger, Conan, and Dave Grohl. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think if I had to go, I would also have Tiger. He would also be in there just to be able to watch Tiger Woods play golf. I think that alone. I am going to go with one other golfer, and that's going to be John Daly.
Okay. I can see, yeah.
Just for the pure joy of enjoying his presence.
You can't let those two ride together, though.
Sure. I'll ride with John. That's fine. We'll fucking rip darts and break hearts the whole 18. It's going to be sweet. So, yeah, John Daly, I think Tiger Woods. And then I'm just trying to think of another person that would just be a lot of fun to hang out with this individual. And, oh, man. This is a tough one, but I know he plays golf. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure the stories that I would hear would be fantastic. I'm going to go with Pac-Man Jones.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have Pac-Man and John ride together though.
I don't think they're making the turn, dude. I don't think they're making the turn if that's the case. But yeah, I just think
you need to pick up two more.
I think the stories on the course would be phenomenal. I think the libations would be beautiful. I mean, we're not going thirsty, and we're burning them down the entire way, and it would just be a fantastic 18.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, absolutely cool. Anything else for the lovely people here at Rally Towel Sports tonight, Aaron?
I think we got it covered. I'm really, really excited. Everyone out there, enjoy the Masters again. It really is a tradition like no other. It's without a doubt the best golfing, event out there, and it springboards us into the spring. So I'm ready to get going.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a fantastic show, and we thank you so much. If you don't already, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Twitter. We are on Facebook, Instagram as well, and on TikTok. And of course, we have our blog available at rallytowelsports.com. Thank you so much. And next time for Aaron, I'm Corey. We'll see you later.